Good evening guys, a very warm welcome to the channel this evening. Tonight we've got this lovely livery, the Hungarian livery Malev, or if it's pronounced differently then leave it in the comments below. We're going to be flying from Luxembourg down into Orly in France. Flight time's around an hour, so it's not too long. We've got the Orthos in and it's looking pretty good. Also using the Reshade. I dropped the stairs out because obviously the jetways don't work, and I think it's nice just to have everything out and about and, you know, be able to play with things. So don't forget to like and subscribe, leave your comments down below, and in just a second we'll start the aircraft up. We're going to be going for a flight level of 290. We're going to be taking the Rensa Star down into Orly for runway 26, and we're going to be departing from runway 24 at Luxembourg. Once we take out, then we'll turn onto Alpha, go all the way down to Alpha, and then line up onto 24. Okay, so let's get the aircraft all set up. So right now we are in the 737-700 cockpit, so let's go and do things accordingly. So we've got our battery on, which is guarded, we've got our standby power on, and ground power is on as well. So we'll go to bat and ground power. Next up we'll align the IRSs. We've got our IFE bus pass and our cab util is on. Next up we can go ahead and turn our emergency lights to armed. We can put on the chime for the bell. Put our seatbelts on, tell them to come in for a quick chat. Hello. Right, we turn our window heats on. We could have tested them. There we go. We can put our trim air on. Packs can go on. And we'll get the APU all set up. Flight level of 290. And we've got a landing altitude of approximately 287. So we'll put it at 250. Obviously you don't want to be too high, otherwise, you know, it might not work. So let's go into the FMC and get our IRS position. So Luxembourg is Echo Lima Lima X-ray. Put that into here. It's a very quick route, so it's not going to take hours. So Lima Foxtrot Papa Oscar for our departure. We're going from runway 24, and we are taking the Rapper 5 X-ray. After that, we're going to go straight to Rensa. We'll take the Uniform November 857. And then that will take us straight to Rensa. And then from Rensa, we are going to arrive onto the Rensa 7 Echo. Okay, so there's the 7 Echo and a runway ILS for runway 26. Put the glide slope on. Right, now we'll go into our perf. I'm going to put a reserve of 1, a cost today, which will take full as always. We'll do a flaps 5, which was 129, 131 and 142. So we've got a 142, 25, turn the flight directors on, and that is all good for now. So we'll go over to the APU, we'll turn the APU on, go to the APU gen, and turn the yaw damper on, as now the IRS is aligned, and now we'll get the aircraft all set up ready for our pushback. So anti-collision on, and now let's call the tug. So the tug's now just driving up. set our auto brake to RTO. We've got our flaps 5, which we can do. So whilst he's coming now, let's turn our pumps on, can turn our packs off, and we'll turn our electric number 1 on, and we're going to go for engine number 2 on the startup, and we'll turn on our probes after that's done as well. Okay, so there's our weather. We'll turn that on when we get out onto the runway. Let's have a look at the QNH for the airport as well. That would be good. So we'll see what the
now connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
Okay, releasing parking brake. Whilst we wait for that, now we'll start the
starting pushback, and you may start the engines.
Okay, so we'll go with engine number 2 now. So let's get the aircraft all switched on. And we'll turn on our wipers. Oh, we'll leave them off for now. They do look nice. I like the rain effect, which is quite cool. So, engine number 2 is now coming to life. Okay, so we'll go ahead and lift number 2 up. Okay, so engine number 1 and 2 are now on. Let's go check the ATIS for our QNH. QNH 1009, scattered 2001, okay, broken 2004.
Operation complete. Please set parking brake.
Parking brake is set. Let's go ahead and shove the QNH.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
There's 1009. which is all set. Okay, let's tell him we're all good to go. Put our strobes onto steady. Put our taxi lights on. Put our logo. And we'll switch over to the Gen now, so we'll go to Gen 1, we'll turn our packs back on, we'll turn the isolation valve to auto, and APU bleed can go off with the APU. And now we'll just turn our probe heats on.
Power is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the right. I'll see you next time and have a safe flight.
See you soon, bye bye. Okay, so let's now put on our window wipers. The weather's not nice out there at all today. That should make for a lovely arrival. Once we blast through the clouds, then we should get some really nice views. So we're all ready to taxi now. Like I say, we're just going to swing a left now, come out onto the taxiway for taxiway Alpha, and then we will turn onto runway 24. So let's go ahead now and drop the flaps. So there's flaps 5. So flaps are down, auto brake is set to RTO, we've got our flaps and everything is all good to go. So let's release the parking brake and start making our way down onto the apron. So we're just turning a left and then we'll just go down to the end and then turn another left, which will then lead us up onto Alpha, which would then we can turn another left and we'll be all good to go. Okay, so here's our left. Gonna go all the way down to the end now, as we're on Alpha. Weather's not very nice, but sometimes it's nice to have the rain effect and you know, just certain aspects of it make it look really nice. We've got the Reshade, we've got the new Reshade glare in, so it should make everything look really nice right now. You see the glare coming through the windscreen, just like if it was raining with the sun. So I'm looking forward to today's flight. Should be very interesting. So we're just taxiing now through Alpha. We're nearly to the end of the runway now, not like yesterday's, which was the longest stretch of runway that I've seen. I did a flight in the 757 and that was with a I can't remember what airport it was at. It was over in Europe, I think it was near Spain. The taxiway there was very very long, reminded me just like that. So we're not messing about, we're going straight for the runway, not doing no 10 knots like I said yesterday, there's no need for it. So here's one of the holds, there should be another one down around the corner. Okay, so we are now near runway 24. Just put the brakes on a little bit. There we go. I'll turn the aircraft. Okay, so there's our hold as we enter the runway. So just as we straighten up, we'll turn our strobes on. Okay, so put our strobes on, put our runway turn-offs on, brief the cabin, and turn our
flight attendants, prepare for takeoff, please.
Okay.
Okay, the cabin is secured. Have a good flight.
Thank you very much. So here we are now, runway 24. Okay, so here we are now, we'll shove our brakes on, throttles are idle. Okay, so now what we can do is we'll change our course to 236. So that's where we are leading out of. Got the LNAV and VNAV, which is now armed. I'm just going to check the legs to make sure we've got no discontinuities, which we haven't. And to come down, it'll be at 3000. Okay, so you know what's left to do now, guys. We'll turn on our landing lights. We'll turn our runway turn-offs off. Our taxis can go off as well. Tell them that we're going. And now let's do it. So, let's start the clock. And get ready to go. So, brake released. There's 40%. And tow gun. Check.
E1, rotate.
Rotate.
Positive brake.
Gear up. Check. Okay. Check. So, go to flaps 1. Flaps up. We're going to turn our auto brake off, as we didn't need to make that emergency. Turn our weather radar on as well. Okay, and now the autopilot can go on. So we've got LNAV and VNAV now engaged. And we'll turn our QNH to standard. And there we are, right over the clouds. Okay, so over 10,000 now. We'll turn off our landing lights. Turn off our wheel well, it's already off. And everything is all good on the overhead. So as you can see, we're just passing through 11,000 for 290, about 25 now. There's our top of climb and top of descent. So now as we make our climb up to our top of descent, don't forget to like and subscribe as we get ready for our takeoff cinematics, and I'll see you all when it's time for our top of descent. So I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so what we're doing now is we're just going into our top of descent. So welcome back, guys, to the flight deck. As we now get the aircraft ready to come in. So on our first fix, we're going to be at 140 below and below 280 when we get to SOTUS. So what we'll do now is we'll go ahead and find out the QNH. So Lima Foxtrot Papa Oscar, and then send that for the frequency so we can get the QNH down. That's a new little thing I've noticed with the update here, where it says ARM when it goes to idle and it goes retard. I haven't seen that, so that's new for the update. So here's the ASUS link for Orly. So 24013, got a few clouds 2009 and scattered at 5000. QNH 1014. Okay. So let's go and get that all armed up. There's 1014. Go to our first officer side and put in the 1014. Which is all good. Got 91 knots coming from the right. That should quieten down by the time we get down into Orly. As you saw, we've got a 13 knot wind. So we'll set this all up as we get closer, as we've got our 153 for flaps 15, 30 for 140 and 40 for 133. There's our glide slope. Our ILS is 111. Okay, so once we get to Gaima, it'll be 240140 flight level, and then Vebek will be 240 flight level 110, Mulbar 10,000, 8,000, and then we'll come down for our arrival. Well, that looks great and nice from up here. Once we slip under them clouds, well then it's probably going to be a different story, but it should be very nice. So obviously we've got the clouds, they're quite low, so what we'll do is when we set up the ILS, we'll just send it down on the single channel, as we don't need an auto land. And if the clouds are around 2.5 to 3,000, then our airport's elevation's 280. So here we are now, passing through 13,500. Start to do our descent checklist. Okay. So engine start switch is continuous, and landing lights under 10,000. Landing approach checklist complete. And we even have our trusty checklist over here. So if you guys do have the 700, you just click there and there's your checklist also, which you can also use, and the button up here is stowaway, and then it shoves it back. So now we're making that left turn up towards Orly, coming down through 11,000 now, and we will be below 250 for flight level 100. So the aircraft will start to slow itself down in another 63 miles. Okay, so now we are approaching our next top of descent. Which will then make us swing a right, and then we'll be straight ready for our left turn to intercept the ILS. So, now what we can do is we'll go into the FMC, we're in our approach ref. So we've got 152, 15, 30 and flaps 40, so we'll do a flaps 40 of 132 with a +5 wind correction, glide slope is on, and there is our ILS frequency. So what we can do now, seeing as we are within around 20 or so miles, we will put the ILS frequency, so 111.75. So we go over to here, we find our nav, which is right here, and then we put 111.75, which is there, 111.75, 111.75. In order for the ILS to work, it needs to have both the navs tuned in, which they are. Yesterday this one had 111.90 and the opposite had the correct one, which is why it never worked. So we've got a course of 254, which we'll put in now, and we're probably going to slow down to 240 in just a sec. So I'm making that right turn now towards the airport. What we can also do now is our approach checklist. So for our approach checklist, or the ILS landing, should we call it, our approach procedures, altimeter settings, QNH is set. We've got our altitude for the approach, which is 3000, which is also set. We've got our ILS course frequency, which is 254, which is set. Our VCARD approach speed ref, which is here, which is set. Minimums a barrow, we can go in and put the barrow in now for our arrival, which is going to be 487. So we'll go and get our barrow now. That's 487. And we'll go over to the first officer's side as well and get that put in. .487. Okay, so now we've started to slow down. Now we'll dip under 10,000, which means we can now put the landing lights on, keep the wheel well ready for when the wheels drop, and we'll put our runway turn-offs when we get closer to the airport. So right now coming down through 10,000 for our intercept altitude, which is 3000. And we'll be on a 254 course, which is here. We've got flaps 40, 132 with our +5 to 10 for wind correction. So around about between 132 and 140. Stay on the top side of 135. So the barrow's set. We've got our QNH, which is also set. We'll put our auto brake to number 2, and everything else seems to be all in check. We've got our nav radios, which will turn on in just a second. Once we make the left turn around here, that's when I'm going to turn on the ILS, because then there'll be no more turns until we make that left for the actual airport. So we're at 240 and just descending now through 8,000, 4 hour, 5,005 and then 3,000 for the intercept. Okay, so we can turn the Q&H's back over to the airports. There's the ILS coming in now. And then what we can do is we'll activate the VOR lock. So what we can do is we'll slow to 180. As in just a second, we are going to go down to 17. So we'll go down to 170 for now.
1,000 to go.
Drop our flaps 5. And what we can also do is activate the VOR lock as well, which will then make us turn. So we'll turn back onto our heading now, which is 028. That will set us up for the interception. Okay, so we've got the altitude hold, and then when we go on to our next fix, which will be 329, and then we'll go straight to 254. Okay, so we're at 170. What we can do is we can arm the speed brake. Okay, so there's the VOR lock intercepting. We're at 3,000. There's the glide slope. So seeing as the weather's clear, I'm not going to activate the approach as it's not needed. So once the airport comes in sight, then what we can do is we can lower the gear and start slowing the aircraft down, and then once the glide slope comes down, we'll disconnect the autopilot and come. So next up, we've got our 152. Go flaps 10. Okay, so there's glide slope coming down. There we go, flaps 15. Gear down. Got all of our lights are on. Okay, so the airport's in sight. So what we can do is disconnect the autopilot and the auto throttle, and we'll go down to flaps 25. Okay. Flaps 30. And flaps 40. Okay, as you can see, the rain's started to kick in. Coming down nice and steady. Just realigning with the runway. Okay, so flaps 40, speed is set, we're established on the glide slope, speed brakes are armed, landing lights are on, and gear is down, 3 green. Got 20 knot wind, which is coming literally practically directly straight. Okay, turn the wipers off. If it does come back, then we'll turn it back on. Yep, there they come. Just leave them on for now.
Thousand feet, stabilized, Mr. Perch, altitude set.
Okay, so we're coming down nice. Nice and calm, nice and stable. Rain's getting a little bit worse now. Okay, just level off a little bit so we can catch the glide slope back so we don't fall. Okay, there we go.
500. 400 minimums.
Flight slow.
300.
Flight slow.
Yep, that's fine.
Minimums. 200.
Continue.
Flight slow. Flight slow.
100.
Flight slow. Flight slow. Flight slow. Flight slow.
50.
Flight slow.
40. 30. 20. 10.
Speed brake is up and reversers are active.
knots.
Check. Okay, reversers can come back in. And we'll just allow the brakes to come.
The gate for the next few minutes. We do ask you please remain seated with your seatbelt securely fastened until the aircraft is parked to the gate and the captain turns off the fasten seatbelt sign. At that time, please check around your seating area for all your personal belongings brought on board at the end of the day, and use caution when opening the overhead compartments. Thank you for flying with us today. We hope you had a pleasant experience, so we look forward to serving you again. Thank you, and have a pleasant afternoon.
And there we are, guys. Hope you enjoyed the landing. Now let's get ready for our landing cinematics. And I'll see you all ready to taxi to the gate. So enjoy, and I'll see you in a minute.